Good evening, everyone. So today we'll be looking into creating custom components. So I'm Gautam. Okay. So in this session, we will be revisiting some of the topics from the OHOS UI framework, which we have discussed already in the previous session, actually, because this is crucial for creating the custom component. And then you will learn what are the various steps in creating custom components. We will see how we can hook into these steps to create our own custom component. So when coming to OHOS UI framework, you all know that this component class represents the basic building block for OHOS user interface. So it defines the like a basic behavior and characteristics that each custom component. Suppose you are creating some component by extending a component, so that component should inherit all the behaviors defined by this component class. So the behaviors are like getting and setting XY position, like getting and set padding, estimating size, how to draw. So there are n number of APIs that this component class provides. These APIs I define as behavior. So these are the behaviors defined by the component class. I assume you all know how to explore this SDK documentation also. This is the component class. In case you don't know, you go to Deveco settings. In system settings, you will be having this HarmonyOS SDK location. Inside this SDK location, so under Java dir, go to docs. Under default section, you will have this index XML or overview XML. When you open this, you will be able to view the like, API documentation. Okay, and you will be having the search bar. So whatever API you want to search, you can simply type in. It will be listing all the APIs. You can navigate to that particular class and you can view the APIs. So a component also occupies a rectangular area on the screen. So and it draws itself, and also it handles the events. So to create an interactive component, you have to register callbacks to process the events. For example, if you want to handle click event for a component, you should register click listener. Similarly, if you want to register for touch event, right, you have to register for touch listener, scale, scroll. There are different types. Again, you see here. So these are the different types of listeners, event listeners, where you have to register for these specific events to get callback when these events happen for the components like scroll, scale, touch, click, long click, everything. So component class is the base class for all the other components and widgets provided by framework. Example, you look at this diagram. So all other components like image, text, all other layouts like inherit from this component class. Component is the base class. What this means, like so every other component class, right, will inherit all the APIs from this component class. Apart from that, they have created this image component because they would have added this use case specific image use case specific. So image component class will have image manipulation functions. Like and then this text component class, right? This will have text manipulation APIs like setting text colors, text size, those kind of APIs. In addition to whatever API provided with the component. This is clear, right? Okay, I will take it as yes. Yeah. Okay. So we will move on to this component container. So again, this component container is the base class for all layouts. Okay, in the HarmonyOS. So standard layouts offered by this OHOS UI framework, right, inherit from component container. You see here. So all the layouts like directional, stack, dependent, and other layouts, right, extend from this component container. And their names usually end with this terminology, layout terminology. Okay. And for each of these component containers, we have like a very specific layout config. So if you encounter directional layout will have a layout config. Okay. Similarly, different layout will have its own layout config. So each type of layout provides a particular layout config for the component it holds. Layout configs are used by components to tell their parents how they want to be laid out. What this means, so the components like child components inside this directional layout will say like I want to be laid out horizontally or vertically. That fashion. That is one type of layout configure. Child of a different layout will say I want to laid below the other child or right of the other child. So those kind of, it will be like very specific to that layout. Okay, I think this also you all might be aware of. We have already discussed. Since Android and HarmonyOS same share like a similar architecture, I took this Android shot. Okay, so in Android also all other views, right, extends from the base view class. Okay, see, you see this yellow line. So yellow line is a text view which actually extends from the view class, and I already told like this text view will have API specific to text manipulation, like setting text color sizes and everything. Similarly, button will have some extra APIs that extend from the text view. Image will have image manipulation functions. Similarly, video will have multimedia related functions. Okay, so this is to just show you that everything extends from the component class or view class in Android. So, development guideline. We also know that ability slice and ability slice class are the starting point for our application, right? So with ability, we will be able to display multiple ability slices. So, and in the ability slice, we will be able to load the UI in two different ways. One will be via Java code, right? Using the set UI content method, we can either load directly the Java code, or we can also directly inflate the XML file, right? We can define all the UI hierarchy in this XML file, and we can directly pass this to set UI content. So by these two ways, we will be able to develop UI. So now we will get into the main topic, like creating a custom component. So why we need to create a custom component? So I have taken two different scenarios. Like so you see this image which I have shown here. When you are trying to design some view which is really unique or new, okay, and which does not exist in platform provided components. For example, platform provides you all these widgets and the components, right? Like a slider, image component, the page slider, indicator, progress bar. Suppose something you want to design which does not exist in the platform provided widgets. For example, you see to the left of the car, we have this volume adjuster, right? Volume adjusting slider. You see this is completely custom, right? It has an indicator kind of thing on the slider, and then there are two icons, right? Plus and minus icon to increase or decrease the volume, and also it has some text. At the bottom it has 0 and at the top it has 10. So these kind of widgets, right, will not be available in the platform. So in order to design these kind of widgets, you have to take the platform provided slider widget. Okay, normally it will be horizontal. Okay, the slider. You have to set the alignment to vertical. For this scenario I am saying, you have to set it the alignment as vertical. You have to add these icons plus and minus, and then finally you have to draw some text, right? So for this kind of scenario, we have to create a custom component. The other scenario would be the reusability. You take an application like Facebook, where the entire application will be in the blue theme, right? So if you see their buttons, text fields, input, edit text, whatever, radio, everything will be in blue theme. So what they will do normally, they will take the platform provided button component, they will extend, they will do some custom blue drawing over that button. Okay. So in this way, they will create only one this custom component, blue component, okay, blue button component, like blue text component they will create, and they will be reusing this button component everywhere they want, right? They will be having multiple pages, right? Friend request page will be there, like that. There are different pages, right? They will be reusing this custom component everywhere. Similarly, in future, you will also be developing some application. You want to create some button and other components that will match the theme of the application. In that case, right, you have to take the platform provided widget like button or text, extend it, do some custom drawing to resemble the theme of the application, and you have to reuse it everywhere throughout the application. So these are two valid scenarios where you will go for custom widgets. Okay, so how HarmonyOS draws these custom components? Actually, there are few steps that happens before the XML is completely drawn on the application. You know, right? Using the set UI content, you will be able to load the XML. Actually, what happens when you use this set UI content? First, the XML has to be inflated. Okay, So in the XML, we will have all the component containers, layouts, views defined, right? They have to be given life. They have to be inflated. Okay, this is the first step. When they are getting inflated, they will first form a component tree like this. This figure you see here, starting from the root. The starting may be a directional layout, different layout, something maybe. Inside, it will hold some childs, right? It will form a component tree of interconnected parents and child. It will look like this. It will first form the tree. Okay, it will identify the components first while inflating. The next step would be, before this above tree is drawn to the screen, ends on the screen, there will be two processes that needs to happen. Okay, so once this hierarchy is estimated, it has to estimate the size for each and every component and component container in this hierarchy, right? So, and the operating system has to estimate the size. Okay, this has to occupy this much size on the screen. Okay, this much width, this much height. Okay, so that will be one phase. It will estimate the size. Once the size is estimated, finally it will draw that estimated component onto the screen. Okay, this will be done by the OS. So, but there are two interfaces provided by Harmony framework for developers to hook into these two processes to implement custom behavior so that we can create custom views. So, the Harmony OS provided these two interfaces specifically. We can register for that. When this phase comes, we will get the callback. So on these phases, we can estimate size in whatever way we want, and we can draw whatever way we want to create custom views. So till this, are you able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah, your voice broke actually. Any doubts?
A replies yes, sir.
Okay. So first we will look into this estimate size phase. Okay. So in order to hook into this estimate size phase, we have to implement this estimate size listener. You see here, I have shown you this listeners, right? There will be a listener called estimate size listener. So we have to implement this estimate size listener when creating a custom view. So automatically, if you implement an interface, you have to override that interface method, right? There will be an on estimate size callback in this interface. Okay. So, so when OS actually comes to this phase, what it will do, starting from the root in this diagram. Okay. Each parent, right, determines some constraints based on the layout config provided by the child. So what this means, you know, for example, you take this XML. This is the root, right? Dependent layout. This is one of the parent. Now this parent will try to determine some constraint based on the layout config provided by these two childs. Okay. So here layout config is nothing but the height and the width, and any other constraint like you see horizontal center, that is very specific to this different layout or directional layout. So based on these layout configurations, this will determine some constraint. This I will show you in hands-on how to create one, but now I will show you this on estimate size callback. So how to implement, you know, first you have to extend the component class, and I am implementing this component dot estimate size listener. So automatically you have to override this on estimate size, and in the on estimate size, these are the constraints. Since this is a child, right? The parent will determine size and passes the constraint to child. These are the constraints: width constraint and the height constraint. You will see in detail, don't worry. So in this phase, the parent determines constraints based on layout config provided by child and passes the constraint to each child. Now child, what it will do in this callback, it will take these constraints, okay, it will look its contents and figures out the desired width and height. Finally, it will the actual aim of this overriding its callback is to giving the control to child to set its width and height. Runtime calculations it can do. Okay. Similarly, if the child itself is a parent, it has some other child, it will ask its children to do the same. It will determine the constraint for the child and pass it to child. Child will estimate the size and set it using the set estimated size method. You see this figure, so resembling to that XML. So it will be this different layout. It will pass the constraints to custom view. Custom view, since it overrides onEstimate method, we will provide the logic in onEstimate size method. Based on the constraint, it will calculate desired width and height, and it will set it back. If it has child, it will ask the child to do the same. Okay. So this will be the first phase in drawing, and the second phase is actual drawing. Okay. So in order to implement the drawing, we have to implement this draw task. Again, this is an interface provided with the component. Once you implement this interface, you will have to override this Andhra method. Again, in Andhra, you will get the canvas of that view, where you can do, using the paint object, you can draw on this canvas whatever you want. So you suppose you are, I told you right already, you are doing some custom theme for your application. You can draw some custom themes on those canvas. You see here, I implemented a draw task. So in Andhra, I have been given the views canvas. In the canvas, I am drawing some circle. This also we will see in detail. So in this phase, starting from the root, the parent will draw first. Okay. And once the draw of the parent is completed, right, it will ask the child to draw. Similarly, if the child completes, it will ask its child to draw. So since the parent is drawn first, it will get drawn at the bottom, and the child will get drawn on the top of the parent. You can see it will be like this. It's a 3D view. The parent will be at the bottom, and the bottommost view in the hierarchy will be at the top. Okay. Now, before going to hands-on, like there are two different ways to create custom components. So extend from existing widgets and the components provided by the framework. First way will be this, extending from the existing widgets like a text or button. This is the simplest form, I would say. Okay, because you say those two scenarios which we have seen here, right? So suppose you want to design some slider like this. All you need to do is like extend the slider, right, provided by the framework. All the slider specific behaviors, right, APIs are already provided by the framework. So you no need to worry anything you want to slide, right, all these things. So you just extend and you draw. All you need to do is draw, right? The other thing is, even if you want to design some custom theme for your, so like custom theme for your button and the text widgets, right? You extend simply the framework provided button, because all the APIs will be provided by the framework itself for button and the text behaviors, right? So you simply have to draw according to the theme, and you are done. So this will be the easiest one, and this is the most recommended one. Okay. There is one more case, extending the component class apart from extending text or buttons. So for example, consider this scenario: you want to design a smiley or custom shapes, some circle. You want to draw some circle or some like stars for rating, smiley face like smileys. So in those cases, it is possible to extend the component or extend the text. In both places, you can draw a smiley, but if you extend text, right, you will be unnecessarily like when this text component is loaded into material, it is inflated, right? All those text specific APIs also will be inflated. Unnecessary code will be there. This won't cause any problems in case of user experience, but in case of performance, it will cause some issues. Okay. In order to get rid of this unnecessary code, you can directly, so like I said, right, you are designing something like this, some circle or smileys, you can directly extend the second way, extend the component class and just draw the smiley or the custom shapes. So strictly speaking, while creating a custom component, what all methods you need to hook into. Okay, so Andhra is compulsory, since it is required for the view to appear, or even you want to draw some custom things, right? It is compulsory. Andhra is compulsory when you are creating a custom view. This onEstimate size is based on the use case. Mostly people won't, if it's a very simple view, like drawing some circle or some smileys, right? So mostly people won't override this onEstimate size. But because the default estimate size behavior is already provided by the component class. That is the reason they won't override. But this default behavior, right, is prone to some errors in corner cases, which we will see. Okay. And suppose you are designing some open source library and all, I would recommend you to override this on estimate size. Okay, because it will make more flexible. So today, what I'll do is I'll extend the component class, and I'm going to draw a circle. So draw this ring. Okay, you see this ring, and on click of this button, I'm going to change the color of this ring. Okay, so I have given this purple background to illustrate that estimate size space, so that we can judge the size of the component. So that I have given this background color. It is not necessary, just to show you what size it occupies on the screen. I have given this background color. Now we will start the hands-on session. So it will be very interesting. I have already created one custom component. I'm going to replicate this, but I'm going to code from the scratch. So let me give the name as extended component, since I have created custom component. Okay, it's already there. So I told you, right, in the very beginning, every component, right, if you are creating a custom component also, it should extend the component class to inherit the behaviors from the component class. So when you extend this component class, like this compiler will urge you to implement the constructors. So here there are totally 4 constructors, out of which 2 are necessary. I'll explain you why these 2 are necessary. So there are 2 different ways, I told, right, to create a UI. Either you can create via Java, or you can load from XML. Okay. So when you are creating via Java, how you will be creating a component, you know, like this. Using new operator. And you will be passing just the context. You see here now. So we have overridden this first constructor, right? It will, when you are creating via Java code, it will call this constructor. Okay. So when it is created from XML, right, like this. So here, if I create a component, it will call the second constructor along with one more parameter. Here you might have got, I am passing the context here, you see, the first parameter, context. Similarly, for the second constructor, there is one more parameter called attribute set. So when you create this component via XML, you are having some attributes, you are defining some attributes. Along with this, you will be defining some other attributes like this padding and config attributes specific to this different layouts, layout config. So all these attributes, right, will be bundled and it will be passed to attribute set. You will be able to retrieve all the values you have passed, right, from this attribute set object. Okay, that is the purpose of that attribute set variable. So now we are ready to go. Let me make this constructor called the second constructor. So your custom component is ready now. Okay. What I am going to do now, we will just put this extended component and we'll see what happens. So I am using a real device. This is a screen copy tool, which is open source. You can download from internet.
So which one you installed, sir?
Actually, if you are having the Harmony OS device, since we are from Huawei, right, we have Harmony OS device. Currently, it is not there. You have to use emulator only. Later, in future, if you have Harmony OS device with you, there is a tool called screen copy. Okay. Okay, you can go GitHub, they have the hosted the source code. So this is the tool. Okay, you can download and you can so once you download, you will have a zip file. Once you extract this, you will have this application, screen copy application. When you run this, right, you will be able to mirror the real device here. Fine.
Fine, sir. Perfect. Thank you.
So now I am running this application. So what I have done now in my main ability slice, I am just referring this XML. What you see here, I have filled this whole screen with my component, but nothing is visible. Everything is plain because we have not set any background. So by default, and like whatever component you define, right, it will take the white color, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'll create a method initialize view or initialize component. And we'll pass in this. Here I'll set the background for this view. You know, right? We have a set background method which takes an element. So we have to create a shape element. So now I'll try to run this. We'll see what happens. See, now this custom component has occupied the whole screen. So I don't want this custom component to occupy the whole screen. I'll give the fixed width and height. Some 200 cross 200. And let it be, since it's like different layout, I'll make it center. Fine. So our objective is to draw a circle. Okay. And since we need to draw a circle, the requirements are we need to have a radius and we need to have circle since it looks like a ring if you see here. So it is called, this kind of ring we can create by using something called stroke width. Okay, so we need radius and stroke width to create this circle. So since I have set it to 200 width and height, you can see now it will occupy the center of the screen now. So we will try to draw here. So now the next step would be what? So we will look at estimate size later, the corner case. But first we will try to draw just the component. Okay. So when you are looking at these open source libraries, right? So when they are designing some custom components, right, they will create custom attributes also. So these are the default attributes: height, width, centering, parent, provided by OHOS. So when they design components, they have something very specific to this custom component. Like I told, right, since we are drawing the circle, we want radius, right? We will give it to the choice of the user, so that user can draw the circle of whatever size he wants. He can give radius attribute. Other than that, that is ring width also we can. Okay. So what I'm going to do. So in order to create custom attributes, first you have to have this tag. Okay, XML namespace custom tag. Apart from OHOS tag, you need to have custom tag since it's custom attribute, right? So I have given some width 90 and ring radius at 200. What I'm going to do, using this attribute set, from this attribute set, I am going to get those values also. So before that, I have to define some variables and constants. I'll explain you what all these variables are for. So I am creating a tag. This tag is not necessary. If you are going to print some logs, you can use this tag. So So this ring width and the ring radius, right? This is what I defined here as custom attribute. In order to retrieve this attribute from this XML, you need to define these constants, and you have to fetch these constants from this attribute set, right? So I have defined these constants. So this label is not necessary till you are going to print log. Sometimes you may be using this component from the, you are going to define this component from ability slice, right? So in that case, there won't be any attribute set. Attribute set will be null, right? So there should be some default radius and the stroke width. So if people define the ring width and the ring radius here, it is fine. It will take from this value. Suppose I am defining the component from ability slice. In that case, I should have some default values, right? So I have defined this. So then using this paint object, we are going to draw that circle on the canvas finally. And this boolean is for controlling the color of that circle. When so you see here, I have this change color button. On click of that, I'll change the color of that ring. So based on that boolean, I will control that color. Okay. Now we have all the attributes ready. I will try to fetch this attribute. You see here this attribute set, if when it is passed via XML, right? If it is not null, I am checking first this attribute is present or not. See, in this case, it is not present, right? It is not present. What it will do, it will take the default values provided. But now I have provided the attributes, custom attributes. So it will check. If not provided, this loop, it will not go inside this loop. If provided, it will go and fetch that value. Now this value is stored inside this stroke width and the radius. Fine. So now we have things ready to draw the circle, right? Next task would be implement the draw task to hook into the draw process. You see here, once I implement this, it will the compiler will alert me to implement this undraw method. Okay, so normally in Java, so when you implement a interface, you have to register for the interface first. So in order to register, so what I am saying is when this component draws, during this draw phase, give me callback to undraw so that I can do some custom drawing. And there is one more step pending. So this paint which you have defined, right? You have not set any attributes. We have to like, so it's an analogy, right? You say not analogy. So normally they have defined the terms like that. So normally we will paint on a canvas, right? So in order to paint, right, we have to set some attributes like paint color, the stroke width, all these things. So we have to initialize the paint object. You see here what I am doing is I am initializing this paint object first, setting this paint color to yellow. So in order for that ring appearance, I am setting the stroke width, which I have set via XML, and we have provided default value also. Finally, this when you set this tail to stroke, right, what happens, you know, it will draw this ring type of circle. If you didn't set that tail to stroke, right, it will fill the circle with yellow color. I will show you how. I'll just comment this out. So we have created this paint, but we have to call it also. Then only it will initialize. So since this constructor is calling this initialize component, it has to initialize this paint object also. Just I will comment this out. See what happens. So it has drawn the complete circle, right? And the style by default will be fill style. Now I set the stroke width and stroke style. it has drawn like a ring now, right? So now what we have done, we have created a custom view. We have hooked into this draw face, and we have drawn a circle on top of the component class, right? This you are all clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now the next step, what I'm going to do is I am going to create a button. On click of that button, I'm going to change the color of that. So I have created a button and I'll give some ID. So what this button? It lies below this custom component, extended component. It should be 30 margin below that component. Height should be the height and width will match the change color text. Will match the size of this change color. And I have defined some custom text attributes. Finally, I have given some background. Okay. And in the slice, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create extended component instance, which I have declared there. So on click of this button, we are going to create a method called change color inside extended component. What I am doing here, so earlier in the initialize paint, I have set the paint color as yellow. So on click of button, I am going to call this method change color method, and based on that Boolean variable, every time on click, I will change that Boolean variable to the opposite. Okay. So I will change the color to paint color to green and paint color to yellow, back and forth. And I will invalidate the view. So if you are making some changes to your custom component, don't forget to invalidate. So only invalidate will make that view refresh. It will ask it to draw again. So it will draw again. So in main ability slice, we are changing the, on click of the button, we are changing the color. You see, on click, it is changing between two different colors. Now earlier I have said that there are two different phases, right? One is draw phase, and before that, before drawing, there is an estimate size phase. Since we are giving fixed size for this view, we are not facing any issues right now. Okay, so there are some corner cases where if we here in this extended component, we have not hooked into the estimate size phase. So there is no issue if you give 200 as a width. Now there is one corner case. I am saying it as match content. If I try to execute, what happens? Match content, you all know, right? It will try to, suppose if it is a text component or button component, it will match the text. Text is the content of that button, right? Like text component, it will try to match the size of that minimum possible size. It will not match the parent. It will try to match the size of its content. See, that background color I have given as green, right? It has occupied the entire screen. I have given match content, but what happened? It has occupied the match parent, right? It has occupied the parent size, and where is the button? It has gone out of range. This is the corner case that we used to face. If you are not estimating the size of this, we have to estimate the content size, right? That is not at all done. For this extended component, there is no such thing called content. So for button component and text component, they have something called text as content. So the ideal way is we have to implement the draw task and we have to fix content size. Okay. So we will proceed to implement the estimate size listener. So once you implement the estimate size listener, you have to override estimate size. And here, similarly, you register for draw task, you have to register for estimate size listener, and this should be set to true for the, unless you set it to true, whatever calculations you do, it will not it will not be visible. Okay, so you have to set it to true to make that change happen, whatever calculation you do. So here what I'm going to do, I'll explain you what I'll be doing. So I am fixing the content, minimum content size as 600. So here you see currently I have hard coded the constant value. So instead what you should do, the ideal approach is you should calculate it based on the screen size. So you are developing an application for a phone. If you are developing only for phone, you can hard code like this. Okay. Suppose you are developing for different devices, right? Like tablets or TVs. Based on the screen size, you should like fix the desired width and height. So you have to have some switch loop or if loop based on the like device type. You have to set the desired width and height to be something. Okay, minimum width and height. So I have given a 600. If nothing, if a match content is given, this size will be taken. Okay, width and height. But I have already told you during this phase, if you remember, what the during this phase starting from root, right? The parent here it is the different layout will determine some constraint based on the layout config provided, right? So here if you see, so this different layout based here I have given the layout config just as match content. Based on that, this will determine some constraint and pass those constraint, width constraint and height constraint. Okay. So now we have to do some calculations whether we can, based on that constraint, whether we can use this width and height, or suppose the user has, this has to work for all calculations, right? So if I didn't do this calculation, even if I give fixed width rate 200, 300, it will take this 600. So based on this constraint, I have to see whether the user has set as match content or has given the fixed width. Okay, so this constraint normally has 3 different types of modes. Actually, there are 2 different parameters that will reside inside that constraint. So you see here, I am passing this to, I have created one method called reconcile size, where I am passing the desired width and the width constraint, desired height and height constraint. Okay, to fix the optimum size. So what here there are 2 APIs actually, estimate spec.getMode and getSize. When the parent passes the constraint, it will pass 2 integers actually. One is mode, another one is size. Okay, so there are 3 different modes, but at a time the parent will pass only one mode. We have to check which mode it is. So when a parent passes unconstrained mode, that means parent says, I don't have any component restriction. The child component can use whatever size it wants. It will leave it to the child. It will leave to child. So you can use whatever you want the size. Okay. When the parent says the mode is precise, right? That time there will be one more component which will be coming along with this mode, that is size, right? You see here, you have to, when it says precise, you have to use that whatever passed the size, whatever the parent passes the size, right? It has to use that size. And there is one more mode called not exceed. Actually, when it passes this mode, it says I have passed you one size. Whatever size you determine, it should not exceed that size. Any doubts here? This is very important. Is this confusing? Okay, I will take the snow. So, so suppose you are setting some constant with like 200. Earlier I set as 200, right? 200 cross 200 width and height. You will get this constraint from parent, precise constraint. It will say the child should use 200 and 200 only when we set fixed width. suppose I am setting like a match content, right? So that time it will say it should not exceed. It will give some size, maybe some parent size. It will give like it has occupied the entire screen, right? It will give the parent size, and it will say the child component should not exceed that size. So that time we have to use our desired size. That 600 and 600 I have occupied, right? That size we have to use in both these cases, not exceed and unconstrained. You see here, when it is precise, whatever size the parent has passed, I am using that size. Okay. Suppose if this mode is not exceed, in case of match content, what I will do, my content size is less than the parent passer size, I will see. If it is less, I will use 600, or else I will use whatever the parent has passed. If it is unconstrained on the default, I will use my my own size, whatever size is 600, right, which I will use. So after estimated width and height, I will set it using the set estimated size. Now you see, I have match content. Earlier, when I used match content, it has filled the whole screen. Now what it is doing, it is take that 600 only. Okay. So if you have confusion or any doubt, you can ask me now. I am done with the session.